Hey, what's up everyone? How you doing? I'm doing great. Just got back from the movie theater, saw a little movie called Justice League. There it is. That is not a fan poster. If you were wondering, that is real. That is real. But one thing I should say, I'm rocking my Punisher / Daredevil shirt right now because I am pumped for that Punisher show that's coming out tomorrow. Technically, it comes out later tonight, which is actually technically tomorrow, so whatever. And I'm going to be watching a couple of those episodes. No reaction for that if you're expecting one. I may do a reaction, you know, I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out when that show comes out. Let's talk about Justice League, all right? Because even though I'm wearing this shirt, pretend it doesn't exist. All right? Pretend this exists right now because that's what I'm talking about. Justice League finally came out, the culmination of DC's efforts to replicate what Marvel has been doing for the last few years, which some DC fans, or actually I would say all really big DC fans, will say that's not what they're trying to do. Come on. And that's perfectly fine because Marvel, it has been knocking out of the park when it comes to money. When it comes to money, they've been knocking out of the park because they got a lot of it. Disney, I should say, has been knocking out of the park there because that's all because of Disney, my friends. That's really, yeah, that's a, yeah. But they've been trying, and for the most part, when it comes to box office wise, they've succeeded. Like Batman v Superman, some people said that was a stumble, but it still made almost like what, $880 million worldwide, which is great. Same thing for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman made like 800. The first Superman made like around 650 or something like that, and Suicide Squad made like what, 750. So all these movies have been huge successes. Now we have Justice League, which brings two characters we've well, yeah, I'll just say two for now. Two characters we've seen in movies before. For DC, of course, Batman and Wonder Woman. Then we get characters like Aquaman and Flash and Cyborg. We even get a new villain. We got Steppenwolf or I don't know, jumping the rope. I don't know what his name is, but Steppenwolf is his name. We got a new villain, Steppenwolf. We got all this come together just so we can have the Justice League, the five you see on this poster, come together and fight an evil, a great evil. The darkness, or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about Justice League, okay? Because I'm going to talk about it first, tell you what I think of it real quick, then we're going to get into more of the spoiler stuff, all right? All right, here we go. Got my Slurpee ready. Here we go. Not sponsored. My shit's melting. Look at that. Oh, that's straight up syrup. I'm energized. Let's do it. Justice League. All right, what did I think of the 5th movie in the DCEU? I liked it. Kind of. I liked a lot of it. Okay, I really did. It reminded me a little bit of Batman v Superman because Batman v Superman had a lot of really good stuff in it, but as a whole, it just didn't work. Same thing here, kind of, but I would say towards the end of this movie, which I'm gonna give DC credit right here, it was only like an hour and 50 something minutes. Oh, beautiful. That's like that's the sweet spot when it comes to superhero films, okay? Hour and 50 minutes for a movie like this that has 5 characters, 3 of them we've never really even met before. Hey, I give them credit saying, all right, this ain't going to be 3 hours long. It's just going to be 2 hours, barely, not even, less than 2 hours, and that's perfect. So I was like, all right, good. Kudos to them. They didn't waste our time. When it came to the end of this film, I didn't feel like I wasted my time, is what I'm trying to say. I felt like I was like, all right, that's a good, fun little action movie with some heroes that I wanted to see on the big screen for a little while, and they teamed up, and it was good. Whenever they were together, it was fine. The chemistry was there. The actors did a damn good job. The writing itself was, you know, serviceable. It was fine. Okay, it was fine. But when it got to some of the action and stuff, it felt way too much of what we've seen before. Okay, it was too much of like a lot of CG, a lot of CG, a lot of green screen, a lot of shit exploding, buildings falling down over and over again, just non-stop, just and they try to make it up here with moments where like characters have to save civilians, like the Flash towards the end of the movie has to save a couple of civilians. There's another character that has to save some civilians here and there. So there's moments like that where they're like, okay, we're going to focus on civilians sometimes. It actually reminded me kind of the second Avengers, where out of nowhere Captain America's like worrying about like a couple of the civilians, even though the whole place is coming down, I guess the whole city, which I thought was a cool moment in that. And I thought it worked here, even though they kind of forced it a little bit with this family, because he actually spends some time with this family that Flash saves. And we like keep cutting back to them at jarring, awkward moments. And whenever that happened, I was like, okay, what's the point of this? Just so we could see the Flash save them. You know, that felt like reshoot stuff, definitely. And there, believe me, there's some stuff in here where you can tell it's a reshoot. But besides that, like, most of it works as a whole. There's some stuff that does not work, like the action. Like I said, it becomes way too much. The beginning of this movie, there's an opening shot that is actually really well done. It has I'll say it right here, this isn't a spoiler, they have one shot of Superman before Batman v Superman, of course, and it's a really well done, like, it's a camera shot. Someone's like videotaping Superman as he just saves someone or whatever, and this person's like, hey, I made a podcast, can you talk about what the S on your chest means? It means hope, right? And he talks about, like, yeah, it means hope or whatever, and he talks about why Earth is great or whatever. So it was actually a very Superman moment, so I actually really appreciated that, because if this movie just started everybody talking about Superman, he was such a good guy, he's so good, why did he have to die? If it was all about that in the first like 10 minutes and that opening scene wasn't there, I would be like, okay, everything I've seen of Superman doesn't make me think he's this amazing hero. Okay, the first movie destroyed a bunch of buildings, I get it, you know, whatever, the city got, you know, completely destroyed. It wasn't technically all his fault. A lot of people like to say it was his fault, but I understood why that had to happen, even though there could have been a moment where he fought Zod away from the city, but it wasn't totally his fault. Whatever, who cares? This is a different movie. But in Batman v Superman, he's just not a likable character in that. There's a couple moments where you're like, oh, I kind of want to feel for this guy. He's Superman. I should feel for him, but you don't. At least I don't in Batman v Superman. And here they immediately get you. It's like, oh, man. Major problem, though, that's where you see the reshoots. Right in the beginning of the freaking movie. Because if you do not remember, there was a thing where they were talking about Superman, not Superman, Henry Cavill, who is Superman. He had to come back to do some reshoots, but he was working on another movie where it required him to have a mustache. So he couldn't shave the mustache because it was in his contract that his character has to have a mustache, a real nice, beautiful mustache, and he couldn't delay filming for that. So he had to come back and film some scenes in Justice League with the mustache. So they had to CG off his mustache. And right in the beginning when you see Superman, it's on a cell phone, like, with moderately decent video quality, and you could tell from far away there's something weird with his mouth, because they CG his lip, but they also CG his mouth a little bit, so you can see it's like this part of the lip right here, yeah, right there, completely CG'd. His teeth are a little bit CG'd, and right here is just completely special effects. I was so taken out of that moment. It was a good scene too. If it wasn't like, if the camera didn't keep zooming into his face, like, because it was far away at first and it still looked a little weird, but I was like, okay, fine. But it kept zooming in closer to his face, and he like moved to, like, he had a profile shot and you could tell it was like there was something really weird with his lip. I was like, anyway, point is that it starts off weird, and then it has like this really melodramatic montage that's, you know, shows like who's in the movie: Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, J.K. Simmons, whatever, and it keeps showing people's names. And it has this really melodramatic, like, a bunch of shots of just showing how the world is now without Superman. People robbing people. There's homeless people, which I'm sure there was homeless people already. So I don't know. I'm sure some of those homeless people are homeless because of Superman, but okay. But it's showing all this stuff, and it's just like Justice League as like a flag, like, waves around. I'm like, am I supposed to be like, yeah, the super team up? We have a sad shot of Superman post death, and then we have everybody going like, oh, geez, this world sucks, man, without Superman. I'm like, I'm ready. And after that, luckily it does shift gears and it becomes a little bit more fun. Not that I really need an extremely entertaining, goofy Thor Ragnarok style adventure from these guys. I'm talking about Batman and everybody, but like the Dark Knight, when it comes to Batman, did it perfectly. There were still moments of levity. There was moments where it was really dark, but it was still entertaining and interesting. And that was my main problem with Batman v Superman, is that there was so many stupid moments that was just like illogical completely when it came to the plot. Here, this movie didn't do that. There's no stupid illogical things. I mean, there are, but nothing that it focuses on too much where you're just like, wait, hold on, what? Because they shift straight from that to something else. And throughout the rest of the movie, it's way more lighthearted. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not Thor Ragnarok, where Thor Ragnarok didn't give a shit. It was just, whatever, who cares? There's a bunch of colors, wham. Here's Jeff Goldblum being weird. Like, there's nothing like that, but it's still much more lighthearted than Batman v Superman. Imagine a whole movie of the last 20 minutes of Batman v Superman, where they're kind of cracking jokes here and there, and there's a lot of action and stuff, and there's a couple of heroic moments. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no doomsday in this before someone says, like, wait, hold on, but just go in here expecting it to be much more lighthearted than the last movie, and you will get a entertaining enough movie with some likable new characters. The Flash, Ezra Miller, great in this. He stole the show completely. He's really likable. You feel for him. There's definitely something odd about him. He might have some kind of, I don't know, he might be autistic, I'm not sure, but he has some sort of condition. He's awkward, maybe he's just socially awkward, and he's really likable. You really immediately like him. He's really, really good as the Flash. And same thing for Jason Momoa. I think he was great, even though he wasn't used as much as I was hoping, because like, he doesn't join the team until a little bit later, and then when he joins, you don't really see him too much. Like, he's doing certain things, but most of the time when he's doing stuff, it's like he's jumping, hitting someone with a trident. I kind of want to see more Aquaman stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I get that he's in, like, the middle of a city towards the end of the movie, but he's Aquaman. He needs to do more stuff with, like, fish and water and stuff. They even joke about it, like, hey, man, could you, like talk to some fish at one point? And I'm like, dude, I want to see that, and they don't show it. I'm like, fuck! Like, everybody thinks Aquaman's so dumb, and sure, I mean, his abilities, if you explain it, are kind of silly, but when you see it, I bet it would be awesome. Imagine he summons, like, I don't know, what's the scariest shark ever? There's one shark that is terrifying. I forgot what it's called. Imagine he summons, like, 20 of those motherfuckers on a giant tidal wave. Oh, isn't there a scene like that in Injustice Gods Among Us? I remember a scene like that. Imagine that. Whew, that would be dope. But you don't see anything like that in this. Hopefully we will in the Aquaman standalone movie. And even Cyborg. Cyborg is really good. Ray Fisher does a great job. I thought he would be the least... I don't know, when it comes to screen time, I thought he would get the least screen time. And also, I thought he would just be way too overly serious. And he is, but he's way more charming at times than I thought he would be. And I thought the actor Ray Fisher did a really good job. Of course, Ben Affleck is still great as Batman. Same thing for Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. And I actually really enjoyed their relationship in this movie, because you didn't really get much of it in Batman v Superman. You got a little bit of it. And also Wonder Woman, you got a little bit of it, even though you didn't see Ben Affleck in that movie. You just saw his little notes that he would send her. So you got a little bit of an idea of what their relationship would be like. And you see it in here, and it's actually really well done. I think it actually works. Sorry, I have a bunch of notes on my phone. Ooh! Alright. Alright, so... overall, Justice League, I really enjoyed, okay? I did. It has moments where it just becomes like those other movies. Okay? It does. There's a lot of moments in here that's just like... I don't know. They could have done it better. The CG is bad. Superman's upper lip looks horrible. I'm sorry. That's so distracting. Remember when people were like, oh, what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? Jesus, Peter Cushing from Star Wars. Grand Moff Tarkin. When Tarkin shows up in Rogue One, and he was overly CG'd. Remember when people were complaining about that? And I totally get that. It's worse here, I think. I really do think so, because this is a person that's mostly, you know, looks like a person. Then there's just this little thing that's CG. It's so awkward. At least Tarkin was fully CG'd. So I'll be like, okay, whatever. He just looks like one of those creatures you would see in the movie, you know, even though he's a human. Here you have perfectly fine Henry Cavill throughout most of his body, and then here. I'm sorry, I noticed it immediately. I was like, I hope you don't notice it too much. But way before, like when I first heard about the mustache being edited out, I was like, I hope you don't notice it. And then you see it immediately. So overall, there are really some poorly done things. The villain is, I didn't even talk about the villain. The villain is fucking terrible. Steppenwolf is so lame. At first, I thought he might be a little bit more interesting because he seemed like kind of like a snarky asshole at first. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then he doesn't really show up ever. His minions are these flying insect things that are lame as hell. And he's just a dumb design. He looks dumb. He doesn't even look like anything I can pinpoint. Like, he looks like if, I don't know. He looks like if Thanos got really, really skinny and lost his purple look. Like, he became, like, really light blue. That's what he looks like, to me, at least. I know that's not exactly, but he has, like, kind of like that chin. I think I might be forgetting exactly what Steppenwolf looks like already, because he's so forgettable. What does he look like again? Yeah, he kind of looks like that. He looks like shit. There you go. You know what? He looks like, Skeletor from the, Masters of the Universe movie. You know, where he's not actually a skeleton. He's just a guy that looks like a shitty prosthetic man. You know, he looks like that. There you go. He looks like that. He doesn't look like that, but he looks like Frisky Dingo. There you go. That's better. Or Death Face, or whatever his name is in that, or Skull Face, or Murder Kill, or whatever his name is. So anyway, yeah, the villain's lame, the CG, whatever. The action's pretty lame too, even though there's some really good scenes. There are funny moments. The characters are fine. When they're together, it's good. All right, so if I had to give it a score, I would give this, I'd have to give it I'd give it a 28 out of 40. Not bad score. Not a bad movie. Definitely not bad. There you go. It's a fun film. If you're really excited for this, and you love Batman v Superman, and you love Suicide Squad, and you love Wonder Woman like I did, then you will enjoy this. You will. So, I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy. But anyway, now let's get to spoilers, because this is what I want to talk about. Okay, so we're on to spoilers. 16 minutes and 40 seconds. Spoilers, okay? Spoilers. So don't continue any further if you haven't seen it yet, or if you care about spoilers. Alright, so I wrote a bunch of scenes. I wrote, or a bunch of notes. Opening scene I already talked about. I guess I could talk about that more because now I could tell you that Superman, surprise, surprise, is actually in the movie. He comes back to life later on in the movie. One thing that really annoyed me is that every trailer for Justice League, besides like the second one where they hinted towards him coming back with Jeremy Irons, Alfred saying like, he said you'd come or whatever, they need you or whatever, like that was obviously Superman, not a big surprise at all. But the movie for the most part has been hiding Superman, I would say relatively enough, even though we all know he was coming back. And then the movie starts with Superman in camera or whatever. I was like, okay, that's a decent way to start it. And then of course the montage starts. It says Ben Affleck. I'm like, okay. Henry Cavill. I'm like, they're not even fucking trying. They don't give a shit. Wouldn't it still be? Why did Henry Cavill's name need to be in the beginning? That ruins it completely. Now you know he's a main character. He's second fucking build, just like Batman v Superman. He is second build. So obviously he comes back, and like not even like 45 minutes later, he's back. They resurrect him the same way they resurrected Zod, except Zod turns into Doomsday. Okay, maybe not exactly the same, but they use that pit of that Lazarus pit, or whatever the fuck it is. Imagine that ended up being the Lazarus pit. That'd be so stupid. But they use that Kryptonian water to re-heal him or whatever, and they use one of the 3 mother boxes, which is something I'm assuming from the comics. They have it in here, and that's one of the things Steppenwolf wants. He wants all 3 so he can make the sky look like shitty CG green screen red skies and shit. But they use one of those to bring Superman back to life. And there's a whole convoluted way to bring him back. So like the Flash has to like run really fast and then touch the box as soon as it touches Superman. It's weird. But anyway, he comes back to life, and immediately because he comes back to life, you supposedly lose something of yourself when you come back to life. Even Aquaman mentioned that before they resurrected him. And he comes back and he doesn't really recognize anybody. He starts fighting everybody, Cyborg, Aquaman, and whatnot. And it's actually a pretty good battle. You get to see everybody try to hold down Superman. Superman's like, man, get the fuck off me. And he whips some ass, you know, all that good stuff. And then he sees Batman. He's just like, oh, I know who that punk is. And he like almost kills Batman. He's just like, oh, motherfucker, you beat me last time. You ain't gonna beat me this time. And then Batman's contingency plan, because he always has a plan like that, is just to bring Lois Lane over. And then Superman calms down, and they have a nice little moment. and then Superman and Lois Lane fly off in a really awkward looking special effect. They go like there's no movement at all. It just looks like two people standing there and they just literally go up. There's no like movement of any muscles or anything or whatever, or legs. They just go like, all right, see. It's like if you have Photoshop open and you have like a cutout version of Superman and you just drag him up really fast. That's what it looked like. But whatever, you know, that was a good scene, actually. I really like that scene. When he came back, it was actually really, really well done. I just wish this would happen in, like, I don't know, Justice League 3, you know, where we got to know Superman more. And when he died in, I don't know, Justice League 2, then it felt more like, you know, he actually died. We had two movies with we had two Man of Steel movies, then we had Batman v Superman, then we had Justice League, and then Justice League 2, he died. And then Justice League 3 came back. But no, we had Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then he's dead. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think they were banking more on, like, you know who Superman is, and that's why you should care, because you already know who he is from previous movies, even though Man of Steel and Batman v Superman is a completely different Superman. I'm assuming that's what their thought process was. It didn't work for me, because I love Superman. I really do. From those old Christopher Reeve movies, the first two, even though I do enjoy the third one. I do enjoy... Well, actually, I enjoy the fourth one, too. With Nuclear Man, that's the fourth one, right? So good. With that terrible-looking space backdrop. Oh, beautiful. It's just a black curtain. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous movie. It was a beautiful film. But, all right, so you had that. Okay, that's one thing I really wanted to mention. Wonder Woman and Batman's relationship in this movie, I mentioned it earlier without spoilers, but now I want to talk about it here. I actually really enjoyed it because Alfred has always been that character that just wants Batman, Bruce Wayne, to just move on with his life, you know, maybe slow down the whole Batman stuff. He gets it, but maybe just move on and become your own person, whatever. And in this movie, he makes fun of Bruce all the time, like, man, you just need to get a girlfriend. Like, that's pretty much what he's saying. Like, there's one point he's just like, hey, man, you just need to go on a date or something. And then you just need someone. And, like, hey, this Wonder Woman, you know, Diana, she like you. I can tell. He doesn't say it like this, obviously. It's Jeremy Irons. He's an incredible actor. He won't talk like, hey, yo, what's up? You know? But that's pretty much what he's getting at, is that you should hook up with that girl. And Batman's like, don't give a fuck, I'm all sullen and shit. So there's a scene later on where Diana and Bruce are arguing. This is when Bruce really wants to bring back Superman, and Diana's like, you should let him rest, and you don't know what would happen. Like, what happens if he becomes Doomsday 2 or whatever the fuck? Which I thought would have been hilarious if that happened. Imagine they try to make something to defeat Steppenwolf and then make something way worse than Steppenwolf. That would have been genius. And that whole Henry Cavill second build is just a troll. He's not even in the movie. That would have been beautiful. But sadly, that's not what happened. And what happened, I actually did enjoy. But they have a little argument where, like, Bruce is just like, hey, man, you know, I'm doing something to save the world. You're just trying to hide like you always do. What would Steve think? He says something like that, and then she gets upset and almost kills him or something. And then they have a little fight and stuff. And it's a really good scene. I also really like Batman in this film because he's not the... All right, he gets the job done considering he's a human. He's just a human. Everybody else, I mean, I guess Flash is a human too. I guess kind of Aquaman, yeah. Aquaman is as well, kind of, I guess. But they all have powers, all right? They all have either super strength, or they can fly fast, or they can jump really high, or fly fast, run fast, you know what I mean? But they all have powers except him, so they bring that up a few times as either a joke or as a little piece of drama. Like, there's a scene later on where Diana and Bruce actually have a little moment where Bruce apologizes and stuff, but it's right before that. Like, Bruce just came back from a battle with Steppenwolf and all of his little flying bug things, and he's just, like, taking off his bat suit, and it's, like, hurting him. He has bruises all over, and Diana's just like, God damn. It's like, you're all beat up, bro. You should let us just do it. And he's just like, hey, man, this is my job. This is what I have to do, okay? I might not be as strong as everybody else, but gotta do it. And I really like that scene. I thought that was really good. And pretty much every scene where either characters are talking to each other or characters are making jokes or whatever, or having little moments, I was really digging it. There's a couple scenes where Flash and Cyborg actually have a really, really fun moment, even though it's when they're digging up Superman's grave. They're trying to get his coffin out, and Flash is like, this is fucked up. This is like some Pet Cemetery shit, which I appreciated that reference. very much so. And they have a little moment. I thought that was really good. Aquaman has a couple moments too with Batman and Flash, actually. And there's a couple really good moments. I would say everybody had decent moments, and it's a good startup for what is potentially a bigger movie in the future with the Justice League, where we get an Aquaman movie, we get maybe a Cyborg movie, we get a Flash movie, and then we do the next Justice League, and then we know these characters more. I just wish we got like at least an Aquaman movie or something. Like I feel like we should have known these characters much longer before this, you know? Like, I don't know. That just disappointed me. So let's see what else I have to say. I really liked the relationship. Characters were really good. I really liked everybody. The villain, oh my god. The villain. I can't get over how lame he is. He is so fucking lame. Even though I love Ciarán Hinds, who does the voice. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in the last Ghost Rider movie. I don't know why I remember that. But he was in like The Dead. He was in so many great movies. And he's always a really great actor. And he has a great voice. That villain is so lame, though. At first, I was like, he's okay. He's better than the Wonder Woman villain, at least. And then it just gets worse and worse. I'm like, fuck. And he's like barely in it sometimes. And when he's there, he's just like, hey, what's up? And he's getting his ass beat and stuff. I'm like, why do you even need 5 people to beat this guy's ass? It was 6 people towards the end with Superman. Why do you need that? You could have easily beat his ass. There's no way in hell Wonder Woman could have taken out a Ares, who I felt like was a more intimidating villain when he showed up. Even though he wasn't great, he was more intimidating. And then they have jumping rope or whatever. Jumping rope shows up, and then he's just like, hey, I got a thing. There you go, killing all the Amazons. Woo! Amazonians, whatever. Fuck it. Woo! I don't know. I just don't know who he is. I didn't know who Ares was either, but like at least there was some build up towards Ares. You know, they talked about him. Here's just like Steppenwolf show. He's like, I am an annihilator of worlds. Let's go. And then they have a background story where you see him, I guess, destroy. Like there's a bunch of armies going after him. The Amazons and the Atlanteans, like join up to fight him before he destroys the world or something. And you don't really see him like whoop ass or anything. You see him get his ass beat, and he like leaves. He's like, I'm out. That's why Earth is still alive, I guess. But I don't know. It's just so generic of a villain. He's so not intimidating at all. They should have picked someone better. To be honest, if they're gonna rush everything, why didn't they just do Darkseid or Darkseid, however you pronounce it? Why didn't they just do that? Do Brainiac. Fuck it. Like, you're rushing it anyway. You might as well do like one villain that, you know, everybody wants to see. You know, do Brainiac. He shows up, bam. You know, and you don't need to kill him off. You could just have him beat, and he'll come back later. You know, like Loki. I'm sorry I'm comparing it to the Marvel movies, but that's obviously what they're trying to do here. And Loki was a good choice for an Avengers villain because he was the villain, but we got to know him before that. You know what he's about. Here, you don't know anything about Steppenwolf. Even if you did, even if you had a whole movie, like if Wonder Woman was about Steppenwolf, he's still a lame character. I don't know, he's just fucking lame. That's it. And also, he looks terrible at times with the CG. Oh, the CG ruins a lot of this movie. Just thinking about it really makes me want to change my score a little bit, but I'm not going to. Because just thinking about certain scenes, like there's a whole scene where, like I said, he's fighting the Amazonians and the Atlanteans, and it looks like the sky looks fucking fake as hell, and everybody's shooting at them with arrows, and they look fake as hell too. Like a bunch of scenes where the Amazonians are jumping off their horses, and from far away you can tell it looked like remember that scene in Matrix, was it Revelations or Revolution or whatever it's called, where Neo's fighting all the agents and it's all CG. It looked like that at times with some of the character models, and I'm sure some people will be like, it wasn't that bad, but this is my opinion. I think it looks that bad, personally. Especially for a movie that supposedly cost $300 million to make. Oh, man. I get it. I get it because of all the reshoots and all the problems. I do get that. But and also you have a huge A-list cast, I would say. Well, maybe not A-list cast, but you got a big cast here, so you had to pay a lot of money for them and whatnot. And the marketing, I get it. So even though the $300 million budget isn't, you know, the marketing, but whatever. But yeah, no, like the villain was just lame. They should have just had someone better. But I guess it would have like distracted from all the other characters too, like Aquaman and, you know, the Flash and all the new characters like Cyborg. Even J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, who's barely in it. By By the way, I don't know why he bulked up, because you don't ever see him without his jacket on. Maybe it was for a different movie. I don't know. Also, one thing I want to mention, I thought this was kind of cool. They did this in a very subtle way, I would say. They didn't bring much attention to it, but there's a scene, of course, like I said, with Amazons and Atlanteans fighting Steppenwolf, and it's a whole flashback. There's a scene where you actually see the Green Lanterns fighting. There's a couple of Green Lanterns fighting. I thought that was really, really cool. I thought that was a really cool little setup for what could be a potentially cool little Green Lantern movie in the future. Hopefully it's not as CG infested as this movie or that last Green Lantern movie, but who the fuck are we kidding? Of course it will be. Not that I don't like CG, I'm just don't like this CG because it's not good. You know, Thor did it well. Hell, even Batman v Superman at times had good CG. Sometimes. Calm down. There was no CG upper lip. Wonder Woman, I thought CG was okay. You know, it was fine. You know, special effects were fine. Okay, so there you go. But the Green Lantern stuff was really cool. I thought that was really cool. So villain's name is the after credit scenes. Okay, so there's 2 after credit scenes. If you're wondering, you're in the spoiler discussion, so you probably already know. But there's 2 after credit scenes. The first one that you see is actually really fun. It's Superman and Flash. There's a couple of scenes where Superman and Flash had like kind of like a competitive thing going on in the movie. And the first after credit scene is really fun. It actually has Flash and Superman like about to have a racing contest, see who's faster, and they're gonna race to the Pacific Ocean. And it's actually a really charming little scene, and we get to see Superman more like Superman, charming, likable Superman, heroic Superman, more in this movie than we've seen him in Man of Steel or Batman v Superman combined. And that scene just makes me go, okay. He's even like joking, like, all right, if I win, you're off the team. And Flash is like, what? And he's like, I'm fucking with you, bro. And he like smacks him. He, you know, goes through a mountain, kills him. It's fucking, it's a grisly scene, actually. It was fucked up. I don't know why Superman did that. And they snapped his neck, and while screaming, ah! That didn't happen. But yeah, so that was a fun scene. Then we have an after credit scene, which we get to see. This is literally after the credits, because the first one's like a little bit of the credits, and you see the scene, and then after the credits, when you have to wait like 8 hours to see all the production team members and stuff. Like, this guy made the cookies or whatever, I don't know. But at the end of the credits, we have a scene where we see Lex Luthor, full shaved head, Jesse Eisenberg, sitting there looking like a boss, even as much as he can, considering he's Jesse Eisenberg. But he's sitting there, he's kind of Lex Luthor-ish. He's got the business suit on now, he's got the bald head. He might be a little too young looking, and the bald head, I mean, his head's kind of like too skinny. Well, fine. It's better than Kevin Spacey now, I guess, considering. It's not going to be better than Bryan Cranston. Oh, Bryan Cranston would have been a great choice. But he's fine. You know, he looks good, and he's talking to someone. Then you actually find out way before you see Lex Luthor. But you find out, oh, it's Deathstroke, and he's in full like Deathstroke gear. And he takes off the helmet, and it's Joe Manganiello. I think that's his name. And he's got the white in his beard and white on his hair, so he's actually supposed to be much older, I'm assuming. Which I thought was going to be a younger-ish Deathstroke, considering Joe Manganiello is, I think, 40-something. So I guess this is supposed to be him, like, in his 50s. So I think that's the most common Deathstroke we usually see. But I thought maybe he'd be younger. Or maybe he is younger, he just has white hair. I don't know. But I don't know much about Deathstroke. All I know from Deathstroke is from the Teen Titans show. You know? And when he was Slade, you know, and that's his name, Slade Wilson. But when he's just Slade, Robin didn't like him. And the oh God, what was the new Teen Titans movie? What was it? Whatever. And I think he was in the Justice League Unlimited, right? You would see him sometimes. Whatever. I only know him from the shows, is what I'm saying. So it's cool to see him, and the outfit looked really cool. So I'll give it that. Even though maybe it looked a little bit too much like cosplay, but it still looked good. Well put together. There you go. Okay. Oh, and the last thing I want to mention, I did enjoy all the little like throwbacks, not throwbacks, but there's a couple of like Easter eggs there. Yeah, not Easter references. There you go. Like there's a part where Batman is like perched on a building or whatever, and you kind of hear like the old like Batman Like, it sounded like the animated theme, like dun 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 dun. So you hear that a little bit in there, which I thought was really cool. That's the animated one, right? No, yeah, that's the animated one. Is it? Oh my god, am I confusing the '89 Batman theme with the animated one? Oh god, I haven't watched either one in so fucking long. Oh, I heard the animated series is coming to Blu-ray too soon. I need to buy that. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, and there was one scene where Cyborg says "Booyah." I thought that was good, even though it was a little forced. I still liked it. I was waiting for him to say it. I was like, "Say Booyah, say Booyah," and he says that at the end. He's like, "Booyah." I was like, "Yeah, you know, you bastard." Oh, they also mentioned the I guess the Injustice League or whatever that could be. That could be coming in the future with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke at the end. I forgot to mention that. Is the Injustice League a thing? I think it is. Or am I just making something up because I just assume that's what it's called, Injustice League. Let me just look. I know Injustice is a game, but Injustice League. Is it called Injustice League? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's what's coming. So they mentioned like we should have our own team Deathstroke, just you and me. We'll beat Superman. He didn't say that, but whatever. So look forward to that. So hopefully Lex Luthor and all of them will actually be the villains in the next Justice League. But there you go. That's all I really have to talk about with Justice League. It was a fine little film. It was. It had moments where I liked it, and some moments where I didn't. Mostly in the action. The action was unmemorable for the most part, even though Superman had a really memorable return, and that action scene was pretty good, but it was only really good because I really liked the idea of all these guys fighting Superman immediately. I thought it was a really good idea to do that besides just Superman showing up like, "Hello, citizens. I'm your friend. Let's go. Thumbs up." I thought it was good. It was actually a better Batman v Superman movie or Batman v Superman fight than the one in Batman v Superman, even though it was more like Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg v Superman, but whatever. Good stuff. So anyway, well, yeah, it was good stuff. I'd say it's good stuff. Yeah. Not as good as Wonder Woman, but good stuff. So there you go. Thank you. And until next time, goodbye.